Are you also struggling to find your way, or your way as a creative? Do you feel like there's no time or no direction? By the end of this video, I hope you'll see much more clearer. I'm going to share 3 artist dates I took and the things I learned. This can help you from feeling stuck to feeling inspired and recharged. But what actually is an artist date? The first time I read this term was in the book The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. This is where I got to know the idea. Basically, she's saying that an artist date can be a time you take for yourself without feeling bad, and it doesn't necessarily have to be an art-related thing. The important thing is that you spend time for yourself and that you get inspired. In my opinion, this isn't only a thing artists should do. I think this is for any type of creative person or for everyone who needs a change and a break from their daily habits in life. It's never bad to take some time for yourself or treat yourself well. So, why I decided to go on artist date? During the last year, I really thought a lot about the question, what kind of artist do I want to be? In which direction I want to go? What do I want to create? And what am I passionate about? I always struggle with the lack of time and a lack of direction or dedication. I think I never took the time to think about my artistic expression. Slow down a bit, take a pause and think of what do you want to do in the next time. In this video I want to share not only abstract ideas but also practical things you can try already this week. So here are 3 steps to refill your creative well, 3 things I learned from my artist dates. Two months ago, I went to a monastery to take some time off, to think about life and to meet other interesting people there. This experience was so great. We stayed there for only 3 days, but this time was so intense. It had everything, the typical quiet time of a monastery, other times reflecting with other people about the questions we were carrying around. I got there without anything specific to think about. But the first question that came to my mind was the question, what kind of artist do I want to be? I got there without any direction, without any ideas. But this was so positive because I got there with nothing to accomplish and there was this question. One day I meditated about it in this beautiful monastery garden, and then this term came to my mind, the art of devotion. I think devotion is a very interesting word. I think of devotion in terms of dedication and surrender. I think it is the purest form of offering oneself to something greater or a greater cause, maybe a person, a craft or whatever you can think of. The art of devotion, I think, consists in 3 things. To be present, to show up completely with heart. It's about being in the moment, whether you are practicing something or praying or caring for someone. You can only do it fully being present. And second, there is consistency. Devotion is not measured by occasional bursts of passion, but it is a commitment. I think the willingness to return to it day to day, to get never bored of it, and even when you get bored, to go on with it. And third, surrender. I think of it in terms of something like humility. It is giving your ideas to something with a higher purpose or ideal. Dante Alighieri was quoted as saying, "If you have love, it doesn't matter if you build cathedrals or peel potatoes in the kitchen." What is it you want to do with full devotion? What are you thinking of when you hear this sentence? When you do something with devotion, even some pretty normal daily things can turn into really sacred and beautiful things, like maybe preparing a meal or practicing a skill or being there for other people. In essence, I think devotion is the art of loving deeply and give yourself fully to something. And this giving enriches. Actually, I wrote a poetic text about devotion, and maybe when you hear it, you can think of the things you want to do in your life with full devotion. And maybe when I read it, you can be mindful about the things that come to your mind. I want to paint with devotion. I am on the way there. I feel that only then will it be meaningful. Whoever acts with devotion brings all of themselves, is honest, not stingy, but shares in the giving. And then one is no longer alone, because a piece of one's heart lives with another. I am on the way there. That makes me grateful and curious. Whoever acts with devotion brings all of themselves. To act wholeheartedly also makes one vulnerable. That makes me grateful and curious. I notice that it makes the journey valuable. Sharing multiplies. Giving is more blessed than receiving. Acting wholeheartedly also makes one vulnerable. That is human. Sharing multiplies. Giving is more blessed than receiving. It feels like the good, like living from abundance. That is human. I am grateful, calm, at peace. It feels like the good, like living from abundance. I feel that only then will it be meaningful. I am grateful, calm, at peace. I want to paint with devotion. You can take my text as a meditation on this subject and have your own thoughts. So my first learning from this artist state is that it is necessary to create a space for stillness. Then inspiration will come, and it doesn't always come from doing more. It comes from creating room to breathe. My second artist date, I didn't expect it to be an artist date. We went to the Museum of Bread. The art of making bread is one of the oldest traditions of humanity, like thousands of years. I think it is the #1 staple food. This museum is very impressive because it has an exposition of all those different types of corn from all over the world, and also it has shelves with many different types of bread preserved there and being there to be seen and admired. This made me think, what is my staple food in life? From which well I am living? What are the things that are nurturing me and my creativity? In one room of the exhibition, unexpectedly, I found a whole art gallery. Those plates formed part of an art challenge for several artists in Germany by the NGO Brot für die Welt, Bread for the World. With this art challenge, they wanted to point out global hunger. In my opinion, it was so impressive because all the artists raised their voice against hunger in the world. They pointed out a specific problem. It is injustice screaming to heaven. They found a way to make this visual and seen in this museum. And it made me think that there are several things which are worth fighting for, and it made me think how powerful was it to see creativity being used for an impact, and that I find it so fascinating to use creativity and art for activism. So the question was, which role I want to play, what do I want to move, and which injustice I want to accuse. And another thing, thinking of this bread, is that bread you can share. And I thought, what is as beautiful and nurturing to me to share it with other people? So the learning from my second art date is seek art that speaks of bigger things, of justice and love, connection between people, and tell stories of sharing. This reminds us that creativity isn't just self-expression, it's connection, because we are all connected on this world. On my third artist date, I went with friends and family. It was just as simple as take a walk in nature. I mean, just to be there, immersed in the surrounding, the colors, the textures. The trees bent because of how full of fruit they were. And I simply was there with my camera, in awe of those things and noticing, simply mindfully noticing how everything has grown and riped like it did every year before. This process of ripening made me think that often as artists we are so impatient with ourselves, when all we have to do is take the time to ripe, so to say, or to learn and grow. And And so it raised the questions, what is it that nurtures you? In which part of your life you need more patience with yourself, or you need more self-love in order to grow and unfold your full potential? So the learning from my third artist date was look closely to nature, because it teaches you so much, at least to slow down and see the patterns we are normally missing in our day-to-day life. And it teaches me to be patient with myself. The 3 artist dates reminded me that creativity thrives when you give it space, and when you connect with others, and when you notice the world around you. If you could take yourself on an artist date this week, what would it be? Even if you struggle with time or energy or the direction, try one of those 3 steps to go to stillness and silence, or maybe you can seek connection with others. You can try to be present in nature. I think that your creativity and your life's path matter. Maybe you only need to take a bit of care for it to refill your creative well.